पहले they had Shashi Tharoor and Pico Iyer. इतनी अच्छी English. Then they have DeepMind head here. What are they doing to me? I'm so intimidated right now. Just for people to know, I mean, he mentioned Blue Gene. He has been awarded medals by US President Barack Obama for that. He has co-authored 75 papers. He has 19 US patents. He's the man. But he's doing, he left the US, came here in Bangalore, and this is the DeepMind team. Sir, you mentioned even ki, as you casually mentioned, you must be remembering protein folds from high school. No, we don't. Uh, only you do. And that's why you are where you are. Uh, Very basic question. What is AI and what is not AI? Because we had computers for a while. Like take something like your own company's product, Google Maps. वो तो पहले भी था. Now suddenly, wasn't that also AI when it tells me that it's going to take me 5 hours to go to Kolaba, uh, you know, or whatever. So was that not AI? And how ChatGPT was the first one, and then everybody came within a few months. Suddenly computers बातें करने लगे. So how did that suddenly happen? What were all the companies had this in the pocket and they're like, हम नहीं दिखा रहे अभी, या what was going on, and why is it called AI now and why was that not AI?
No, in fact, you're very right. AI is a very old discipline, in almost as old as computing itself. Many of the, in fact, one of the key developments in AI happened at this famous workshop called the Dartmouth workshop. You were telling me your son is at Dartmouth.
Yes.
There was that famous workshop where the term was coined. And at that time, kind of the initial idea was to basically make machines learn and behave similar to what humans do. But what happened over the years was, instead of going after that very broad capability, people, that turned out to be a disappointment, right? So initially there was work on artificial neural networks, which were inspired by the human, how the human brain works and so on. But they weren't quite working. I mean, a lot of very pioneering work was done in the 80s, but they weren't working on real world problems. They worked on a few toy problems. So what happened is that people started then working on very specific targeted problems, right? And they started to see results. So there were many, many different approaches to AI. One that took off was something called machine learning, which is make machines learn from data. And again, within machine learning, there were many, many different approaches, support vector machines and all of that. But one approach, which is really deep learning, which many of you may have heard of, it took off around the year 2011, where it made a comeback. That artificial neural networks, all of that work that was done in the 80s, and the community said कि ये काम नहीं करता. That made a comeback. And since then, what happened was there were a whole range of different kinds of problems, be it image, object recognition, trying to identify what's in the image, speech recognition, okay, you look at audio and you understand what words are being spoken, or translation. I'm speaking in English. If you want to quickly translate that into Hindi, Punjabi, and so on, can the machine do that? So all of these different kinds of problems that the researchers had been working on for decades, using various kinds of machine learning methods, this deep learning started to do a better job. So people said, okay, you might have thought, okay, problem solved. A big problem with that, why kind of this whole chat GPT and so on, right, is took off. A big problem with that was, in those days, for every problem, you needed millions of kind of labeled data points. You had to, to teach this AI model, you had to take millions of, for instance, images, or millions and annotate them, कि उसमें क्या है, or millions of sentences that have been uttered, which had to be humanly annotated. And for every problem, you had to train a new network from scratch. And this is not how we humans learn, right? When given a new problem, I don't start from scratch. I build upon all my years of learning and my experience with similar problems. So that was the problem that got cracked by these foundation models. And a key innovation there was this transformer architecture that was invented at Google Research. And then people started building these foundation models. And a single model, they saw, could attack a whole broad range of problems. So that is what started giving people that, so it is what led Stanford researchers to coin the term foundation model. Okay, now to solve a problem, you can start with these foundations that are provided by a model. And this is why people are now getting excited about this artificial general intelligence capability. Okay, now any task that humans can do, we now expect in the near future, a single model, AI model, should be able to do that task quite
Any
well.
task.
Any task.
Can they?
That requires thinking.
Not love and tongue stuff like that. Okay,
Love, that will take a while.
That's next generation. Okay. I mean, it is pretty crazy because I'll admit one day I had an interview request from a magazine. And it was 17 questions and I was very busy that day. So I went to ChatGPT and, sorry, Gemini, correct branding. I don't remember which one it was. And I said, you are Chetan Bhagat. You have these interview questions. Answer these in 3 lines each. It just gave the answer, including what is my daily routine, what do I eat, all that. I don't know, some was true, some was not. And then sometimes I've given my whole article, if I've written, I say summarize it in 2 lines. वो कर कैसे रहा है? So, like, how is it doing it? Maybe we are just don't have the brain to understand. You can say that also. But, you know, by the way, he's my senior from college, IIT Delhi. He's an example of when IIT goes right. And I am the other way around. And his son also went to the same college as where my son goes. So that's quite interesting.
So,
anyway.
No, in fact, I was just told yesterday that Chetan Bhagat would be hosting the fireside chat. I said, wow. So anyways, kar kaise raha hai? So there's something called composition capability. So that these models, these are, as you build these very, very large models, what happens is there are different aspects of like that problem, and these are coming together through this composition that these large language models are able to do really well. So because what happens is there's all of this, like, I mean, for various questions, right? There is all of this information that they're able to process. So there is some part of the network that is helping them kind of provide those answers. But then there is also that part where you're customizing it to how would Chetan Bhagat do it. And by the way, you're a much bigger celebrity than I am, because if you ask ChatGPT or Gemini, how would Manish Gupta answer that question? It will say, Manish Gupta who? And very legitimately so.
He'll say, Manish Gupta ने तो बनाया है मुझे. Manish Gupta तो मेरे पापा है. तो आप पापा के बारे में ऐसे कैसे कह सकते हो? I mean, there is talk of AI can be used in a negative way. There's the Hollywood version of it, where machines and robots have taken over the world and they are hurting humans. I don't think it's going to happen that way, but here's one clear thing which I worry about, and I heard Elon Musk say this also once, so it's stayed with me. It said this, it's not like they will start attacking humans, but they will do a great job, because people like you will make sure they do a great job. And they will do such a great job that supposing your child likes to play a musical instrument or likes to paint, but the AI will make a better painting than anybody ever could, and the AI will play better music, and the AI will make a better legal contract if he wants to be a lawyer or whatever, and there'll be nothing left to do or to feel that I did this well, because dude, you are not as good as AI. What will humans do then? It's like a complete loss of purpose to our existence, because dimag chahiye hi nahi.
No, I think those humans will be using AI to do even better than what AI could do alone. Because I always prefer to think in all of our work, not of AI versus human, but AI augmenting human capability. So when that human is using AI, I think that human will be able to do far better than a human who's not using AI. So like
AI use
it will apply to a doctor, it will apply to an artist. Let's say a doctor who's making use of AI will be a far better doctor than a doctor who says, look, I don't buy all of this AI stuff. I'm going to just go by my experience. Because this AI is going to be able to look up all kinds of corner cases from the medical literature, the absolute latest medical literature, right? And bring those. But you don't want, but we know that the AI can also hallucinate. So you want that AI to ultimately bring those to the attention of the doctor and let that doctor make the final choice. Okay. So I think this is how we would continue to, and this is why it is very important for ultimately for us to really skill everyone on AI. Ultimately, because it won't be just the technologists and so on, right? Everybody will need to, at some level, right, be able to leverage technologies like AI. Together with that, I think humans will be able to do far better job than AI alone.
Okay. Actually, so far at least, the AI I've seen, it's not very good at art. Like it will answer an interview question in style of Chetan Bhagat, but I said write the next book, and I thought shayad time bach jaye, but that didn't happen. It just created absolute crap. Not that I create much better, but still, it was not able to do it. There is no AI song that has been able to make people cry or filled with inspiration or delight, like some of the other songs do. Some musicians can, some artists can. And I think it's because the AI is trained on data, but AI ka kabhi dil nahi toota hai. AI didn't have a troubled childhood. AI didn't have the kind of things. So, do you agree with that? Do you think art is something completely different? It's not, it can do a lot of tasks, but creating art is a different.
See, I mean, if you go back, let's say 10 years ago, all AI experts were saying, okay, look, AI will be used to automate all of this mundane tasks that we do, but creativity will remain this uniquely human endeavor. So, and today we are still doing our laundry ourselves, and we are still driving our cars. Of course, Waymo cars and other self-driving cars are coming up. At some point, they will work in India, but it will take them a while, right, before they work on our streets in India. But you are beginning to see amazing, when you prompt the model, right, to generate an image and so on, you're beginning to see very, very, I think, at least exciting kind of things. So again, I think if you are talking about AI competing with humans, I think, yes, humans will still win. But when you think about the artist who's now beginning to use the power of AI, because I didn't show, again, in the interest of time, there was another video I had which showed how some of the artists, so Google has been working with some artists who are beginning to create new music. So when they're doing their exploration, AI helps them explore kind of new genres, which are combining whatever Haitian music with Brazilian music and so on. And this artist says, I have no idea, right, what will come out. But AI is helping them explore, right, a lot of these very kind of interesting directions. So I think you'll increasingly begin to see artists make use of AI to create even more amazing art.
Okay, nice. But those Waymo cars, those driverless cars, they run on AI, but it's hard in India because we have something called NS, which is natural stupidity. I read articles which actually term it the AI arms race. The US is making models and investing huge amounts of money. China launched models. How do you see it? I mean, of course, you're seeing it from a research point of view. Is it going to become like an arms race? Who has the best AI? And particularly, what are the implications for India? And what can we do? And should we be alert and be on top of this more? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I've been very focused on, again, developing AI in an inclusive manner. And I think India has taken that view, right? Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that we should develop AI in a manner that benefits everyone. So rather than thinking in terms of arms race and so on, one of the things where, in fact, I've stated that publicly, even well before this DeepSeek entered our public consciousness, is that these foundation models are becoming so powerful. It is important, right, for countries like India to have key capabilities. So already there are researchers in my team which have deep expertise in how do you build these foundation models, how do you make them work for all of the different languages, how you make them efficient. We want that expertise to be widespread, right, throughout, again, organizations in India. So which is why I have been advocating for a long time that India shouldn't only focus on applications on top of AI. Yes, we need to do that, but we should also have that expertise in building our own foundation models. And there should be many such efforts, right? Instead of only thinking about one national effort and so on. So I prefer not to think in terms of arms races. I do think that if the developments in AI are coming from all of humanity, it'll naturally kind of push us in a direction where we develop AI in a manner that benefits all of humanity, right? Instead of only a privileged few. So in that sense, given that India represents such a large part of humanity, yes, we absolutely want not just one, but many organizations in AI to have that capability to develop foundation models.
You feel India should make its own foundational model. Does it cost a lot?
Yes, the way you build them today, it costs a lot, but by all means, innovate. We haven't seen the last word on how these foundation models should be built, because some people just assume, take it for granted that, oh, it's going to cost hundreds of millions of dollars. I would say we should stop having that scarcity mindset. India is not a poor country anymore. I mean, if it requires $100 million, right, to be a leader, can't we afford as a country to spend those hundreds of millions of dollars? We can. But the other point I would say is, by all means, innovate, come up with cheaper and kind of more energy efficient and so on ways of building these foundation models. There is already inspiration, right, from this organ called brain, right, that sits in every one of us. Brain does all of this processing at something like, it's estimated to consume about 20 watts of power, right? And today, all of these large models, they're consuming so many megawatts of power that today all these AI companies are now signing deals with nuclear power companies, right, to build nuclear power plants to power these AI systems. Why should it be that way? Why should it have to be that way? We ought to figure out much more energy efficient, much more cost efficient ways of building these models. So I would say it's like we are still very at early stages in this long journey to build highly capable systems. So it's important for definitely India as a country to have those kinds of base capabilities.
Okay. So we have, I mean, it's a different field, but like we have something like an ISRO, for example. And we do spend $1 billion+ on ISRO every year. And we have reached somewhere in space research in that way. Do you feel this is as important?
I think I would say even more important. So in fact, yesterday we were very fortunate. We had an inauguration of our new office for Google Bangalore, and our chief guest was Dr. V. Narayanan from ISRO. Again, he talked about how India was so far behind. He talked about he was a child in a village in Kerala when they heard the news of man having first walked on moon. He said we were like decades behind other countries. And he talked about so many accomplishments, having landed, done a soft landing on that other corner of the moon, and the manner in which we reached Mars and so on, launching 100 satellites for the first time in one go. There are so many things that ISRO has done which are first in the world. So I think we need to have that same mindset, because a lot of times, at least having come back, often I'm asked, why are we, whatever, not a leader in this field and so on. And a lot of times people point to, oh, lack of money, lack of talent and so on. And I always feel, no, it's not lack of money, it's not by no means lack of talents, it's the lack of ambition, lack of boldness or guts, ambition, whatever you call it. Often we in India are afraid to do something that has never been done before, because we feel, oh, we are likely to fail, and so on. We need to drop those inhibitions. We need to have that boldness to do things which have never been done before. Nobody has ever built a foundation model, right, that would run on as much energy, right, as a laptop consumes. Why not? Go and build that foundation model.
All right, all right. AI basically runs on a lot of data. That does AI have morality, or does intelligence have to be moral? Because, for example, it's a form of power, right? It's a form of intelligence. Now, whether I use it for something good, which is like invent the next vaccine or cure cancer, or I say, you know, here's a video of this airport. Tell me how I can place a bomb here without figuring out. You just showed me like the video. I mean, it's theoretically, the AI doesn't care that it's good or bad. That's not its job. Its just job is to tell me.
Right.
Do you think those kind of things are like, how do you do that? How do you draw that moral line? And what if the data itself on the internet, like you said, Hindi is only 0.1%. If the data itself is biased, if the people itself think in a biased way, how will AI be fair or moral or just? I think DeepMind tried, not DeepMind, Gemini tried it and it got into, like, it was showing pictures of only, I think, colored people for a while, and they were like, what's going on? So how do you navigate this?
Yeah, yeah. No, so these are, thanks for bringing this up. These are very, very tricky problems. And in fact, for researchers, we are excited that while on one hand, AI is being used, right, to do so many things in the world, on the other hand, there are so many fundamental problems with those AI models, right, including issues of bias. Why is there bias in AI models? Because it learns from data created by humans, right? And we humans have those biases, right? So there have been studies that show you start using AI models to shortlist candidates for a high-tech job. All you do is you change the name from a male to a female. Everything else in the resume remains the same. And suddenly, your chances of getting shortlisted go down dramatically. Wow. So all of these issues. And where did that AI model learn from? It learned from us, right? Humans who carried those biases. And then you talked about all of these, like, an AI model could very easily be asked to kind of, whatever, design a bomb and so on. So these are, again, very, very tricky problems, which is why, again, companies like Google as well as others have been formulating these responsible AI principles. And we have very detailed kind of audits, right from when we choose data sets to build those models to launching those models, where we try to see, are we really abiding by those principles? But it is still, I would say, still a not fully solved problem. In fact, my own team has been doing a lot of work on these bias issues in a non-Western context, bias based on caste, religion, and so on, that these models carry. And we are also then working on techniques to mitigate those biases. It is still an open problem.
Okay. Well, we are running out of time, but Sundar Bhaiya at the top, at Google, you heading DeepMind, and Google, I think, pretty much runs the world. And it's you guys over there who are running the show, so we are very proud of you. It's basically Indians running the show at Google, I think. Of course, others also, but we'll claim it like that. And I think we learned a lot today. It was a tough session. I thought, but I think you said things in a way that all of us learned a few things, even though we don't have so much NI, the natural intelligence, to understand AI. But thanks for all the great work and making India proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Chetan.